There's an ancient samurai concept that separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up at the first obstacle. And the absence of this principle in your life might be exactly why you keep getting knocked down by circumstances beyond your control. We live in an age of constant disruption. Algorithm changes destroy your views overnight. Competitors copy your ideas. Critics attack your work. Rejections pile up. Failures accumulate. And with each blow, you feel yourself breaking a little more. But here's the truth the samurai discovered 400 years ago. The problem isn't what happens to you. The problem is how you react to what happens to you. Every time life hits you and you emotionally collapse, you lose. Every time uncertainty appears and you panic, you lose. Every time criticism arrives and you crumble, you lose. Not because you're weak, but because you haven't developed Fudoshin, the immovable mind. Subscribe now because this video will show you exactly how to build a mind that cannot be shaken no matter what storm comes your way. Like this video and comment, what situation keeps knocking you down? Let's begin.
There's a reason why some people collapse at the first obstacle while others become unstoppable. And it has nothing to do with talent, luck, or circumstances. It has everything to do with a principle the samurai called Fudoshin, the immovable mind. Right now, as you watch this video, there's something in your life that keeps shaking you. Maybe it's the fear of starting. Maybe it's the doubt that whispers, "You're not good enough." Maybe it's the surprise of sudden failure. Maybe it's the confusion of not knowing which path to take. These are what the samurai called the four sicknesses of the mind: fear, doubt, surprise, and confusion. And every single time one of these sicknesses appears, you react emotionally. You panic, you freeze, you run, you quit. And that reaction, that emotional collapse, is what keeps you trapped. Because the external world will never stop testing you. Algorithms will change, competitors will emerge, critics will attack, failures will happen. The question isn't whether these things will occur. The question is, will you stand firm or will you fall? Most people fall. They let every external event dictate their internal state. They give their power away to circumstances. They become victims of life instead of masters of themselves. But there's another way, the way of Fudoshin, the way of the immovable mind, a mind that stands like a mountain regardless of the storm, a mind that responds with clarity instead of reacting with emotion, a mind that cannot be disturbed by fear, doubt, surprise, or confusion. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to develop this mind. Not through abstract philosophy, but through a real story of someone who discovered Fudoshin when they needed it most. But before we begin, I need you to do something. Comment below right now, what is that one situation that keeps shaking you? What external event keeps triggering an emotional collapse? Write it down. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to stand firm against it. Now, let me tell you a story.
Marcus Chen was 32 years old. He had a dream that burned inside him every single day: to build a successful YouTube channel and escape his soul-crushing corporate job. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't unmotivated. In fact, Marcus was one of the most driven people you ever meet. He woke up at 5 a.m. every day. He researched video ideas for hours. He learned editing, thumbnail design, script writing, SEO optimization. He studied every successful channel in his niche. He consumed hundreds of hours of content about the YouTube algorithm. And then he started posting. His first video got 47 views. His second got 23. His third got 91. He kept going. 10 videos. 20 videos, 30 videos. And then something happened. Video number 34 exploded. It got 50,000 views in 3 days. Marcus couldn't believe it. He was euphoric. This was it. This was the breakthrough. He immediately started working on the next video, convinced he had cracked the code. He spent an entire week on it. Better script, better editing, better thumbnail, better everything. He posted it with trembling hands, and it got 412 views. Marcus froze. What happened? Why didn't it work? He analyzed everything. He compared the videos frame by frame. He read every comment. He checked every metric. Nothing made sense. So he tried again. Video 36. He put his heart and soul into it. Posted it. 1,200 views. Better, but nowhere near the first one. Video 37. 340 views. Video 38. 890 views. Video 39. 2,100 views. Video 40. 156 views. Marcus was on an emotional roller coaster. Every upload was a gamble. Every result was a verdict on his worth as a creator. When a video did well, he was on top of the world. When it flopped, he was devastated. He started second-guessing everything. Should he change his niche? Should he copy other successful creators? Should he chase trends? Should he stick to his style? The doubt was eating him alive. Then, YouTube changed the algorithm. Suddenly, his average views dropped by 60%. Marcus panicked. He spent entire nights reading about the update. He changed his entire strategy overnight. He started making different types of videos, shorter, longer, different topics, different styles. He was reacting to every change, every trend, every piece of advice he found online. And with each reaction, he lost a piece of himself. His channel became a chaotic mess. No consistency, no identity, no direction, just desperate attempts to please an algorithm he couldn't understand. And then, the worst thing happened. A larger channel in his niche made a video covering the exact same topic as his best-performing video. But they did it better. Better production, better presentation, better everything. And their video got 500,000 views. Marcus watched it and felt something break inside him. He stopped posting for 3 weeks. He couldn't take it anymore. Every external event was crushing him. Algorithm changes destroyed his views. Competitors overshadowed him. Criticism in the comments hurt him. Failures accumulated. He was emotionally exhausted. He had no stability, no foundation. His entire sense of self-worth was determined by external metrics he couldn't control. Views, likes, subscribers, comments, algorithm, competition. He was a leaf in the wind, blown in every direction by forces beyond his control. And he was about to quit until he met someone who taught him about Fudoshin.
Marcus met Kenji Tanaka at a creator conference he almost didn't attend. Kenji was 58 years old, Japanese-American, and had been creating content online for 15 years. But what caught Marcus's attention wasn't Kenji's subscriber count or view numbers. It was the way Kenji carried himself. There was a calmness, a stillness, a presence that was completely different from every other creator at the conference. Everyone else was anxious, comparing numbers, chasing trends, desperately networking. Kenji was simply present. During a panel discussion, someone asked, "How do you deal with algorithm changes?" And Kenji answered, "I don't deal with them. I continue doing my work regardless of them." The room was silent. Another creator challenged him, "But you have to adapt or you'll become irrelevant." Kenji smiled. "There's a difference between adapting and reacting. Adaptation is intentional. Reaction is emotional. I adapt when it serves my vision. I don't react when the algorithm shifts." Marcus was mesmerized. After the panel, he approached Kenji. "How do you stay so calm? How do you not panic when things go wrong?" Kenji looked at him with eyes that seemed to see through him. "You're suffering from the 4 sicknesses, aren't you?" Marcus was confused. 4 sicknesses? Fear, doubt, surprise, confusion. These are what destroy a warrior's mind. These are what my grandfather taught me about when I was young. Kenji's grandfather had been a practitioner of kendo, the way of the sword, and he had taught Kenji about Fudoshin, the unmovable mind. In sword fighting, Kenji explained, if you fear your opponent, you hesitate. If you doubt your technique, you falter. If you're surprised by their move, you freeze. If you're confused about what to do, you get struck down. The four sicknesses kill you. But you're not sword fighting, Marcus said. Kenji smiled. Aren't I? Every day I step into the arena of content creation, I'm facing opponents, the algorithm, the competition, the critics, my own self-doubt. And every time I let one of those things shake my mind, I lose. Not because they defeated me, but because I defeated myself through my reaction. Marcus felt tears welling up, because it was true. He had been defeating himself. My grandfather taught me something that changed my life, Kenji continued. He said, the mountain doesn't react to the storm. The storm rages, the wind howls, the rain pours, but the mountain stands. Not because it's fighting the storm, but because its nature is to stand. Fudoshin is becoming the mountain. How? Marcus asked desperately. Walk with me, Kenji said. They walked through the conference hall, away from the noise, to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. Kenji began. Fudoshin isn't something you achieve once, it's something you cultivate daily through understanding the four sicknesses and how to cure them. First, fear. You fear failure, rejection, poverty, irrelevance. This fear makes you hesitate. It makes you play small. It makes you quit before you even begin. The cure for fear isn't courage in the way most people think. The cure is acceptance. Accept that the worst-case scenario might happen. Truly accept it. Not in a defeated way, but in a liberated way. When you accept that you might fail, you're no longer controlled by the fear of failure. Second, doubt. You doubt your abilities, your ideas, your worth. This doubt makes you second-guess every decision. It makes you copy others instead of trusting yourself. The cure for doubt isn't confidence in the outcome. The cure is commitment to the process. When you commit to your path completely, without reservation, doubt dissolves. Not because you know you'll succeed, but because you're no longer asking that question. Third, surprise. The algorithm changes, a video flops, a competitor overtakes you. You're surprised and you panic. The cure for surprise isn't preparation for every possibility. That's impossible. The cure is constant awareness. When you're truly present, truly aware, nothing surprises you. You see the change coming. You feel the shift happening. You're ready not because you predicted it, but because you're always ready. Fourth, confusion. You don't know which path to take. You're paralyzed by options. You're overwhelmed by information. The cure for confusion isn't finding the right answer. The cure is finding your center. When you know who you are, when you know your core values, when you know your true purpose, the path becomes clear. Not because there's only one path, but because you can walk any path with clarity. Marcus absorbed every word. But how do I actually do this? He asked. You practice every single day.
Kenji offered to mentor Marcus, not in content strategy or growth hacks, but in Fudoshin. They met every week for 6 months, and Kenji gave Marcus a training regimen that changed everything. First practice, facing fear through acceptance. Kenji asked Marcus to write down his worst fear. Marcus wrote, "My channel fails completely. I waste years of my life. I never escape my job. I die full of regret." Kenji read it and said, "Good. Now answer this. If this happens, will you survive?" Marcus thought about it. Yes. Will you still be able to create content if you want to? Yes. Will you still have learned valuable skills? Yes. Will you still be the same person who had the courage to try? Yes. Then you've already accepted the worst case. Now you're free to act without fear controlling you. This simple exercise shattered something in Marcus's mind. The fear didn't disappear, but its power over him did. Second practice, building commitment through sutemi.
Sutemi is a Japanese concept meaning to throw away the body, or complete commitment without reservation. Kenji told Marcus, choose your path and commit to it 100%. Not 95%, not 99%, 100%. No backup plans, no escape routes, no hedging your bets. When you commit completely, doubt has nowhere to live. Marcus made a decision. He would create content in his unique style, focused on his core message regardless of what was trending. He would post consistently for 2 years, no matter what the results were. He wrote this commitment down and signed it like a contract with himself. And something shifted. The constant second-guessing stopped. He wasn't wondering if he should pivot or change or quit. He had already decided. He was all in. Third practice. Developing awareness through stillness. Every morning, Marcus spent 10 minutes in complete stillness. Not meditation in the mystical sense, just sitting, observing his thoughts without engaging them, watching his emotions without reacting to them. Kenji explained, when you practice stillness daily, you develop the ability to create space between stimulus and response. Something happens, you don't immediately react. You observe, you assess, then you respond with intention. This is how you stop being surprised. You're so aware of your internal state and external environment that you see the waves coming before they crash. Marcus noticed changes immediately. When a video flopped, instead of spiraling into despair, he paused, observed the emotion, let it pass, then analyzed the data objectively. When the algorithm changed, instead of panicking, he paused, observed the change, assessed its impact, then adapted intentionally. When a competitor released a similar video, instead of feeling defeated, he paused, observed the jealousy, let it go, then continued his own work. Fourth practice, finding center through purpose. Kenji asked Marcus the most important question. Why do you create content? Not for money, not for fame, not for validation. Strip away all external rewards. Why do you do this? Marcus thought for days, and finally he found his answer. Because I have something to say that might help people. Because creating is how I make sense of the world. Because this is who I am, regardless of the results. Kenji smiled. That's your center, your immovable point. Every time you're confused about what to do, return to this purpose. Does this action serve your purpose? Yes? Do it. No? Don't do it. Confusion? Eliminate it. Marcus wrote his purpose on a card and put it on his desk. Every time he felt lost, he read it, and clarity returned. These 4 practices transformed Marcus. Not overnight, not dramatically, but gradually, consistently, deeply. He was becoming the mountain.
6 months into his training with Kenji, Marcus faced the biggest test of his life. YouTube rolled out a massive algorithm update. Overnight, his views dropped by 80%. His average went from 5,000 views per video to 1,000. Channels across the platform were panicking. Creators were making desperate videos about what happened. Everyone was scrambling to figure out the new system. The old Marcus would have panicked, would have stopped everything, would have spent weeks obsessing over the change. But something was different now. Marcus sat in stillness that morning. He observed the fear rising in his chest. He watched the thoughts, "This is the end. You're finished. You'll never recover." He didn't engage them. He just watched them pass like clouds. Then he returned to his center. Why do I create content? To share ideas that might help people. Does this algorithm change affect whether I have ideas worth sharing? No. Does it affect whether I can create and post videos? No. Does it change who I am and what I'm committed to? No. Then I continue. Marcus posted his next video on schedule. Same style, same message, same commitment. It got 900 views. He posted the next one, 1,100 views. The next one, 800 views. Some creators in his niche quit. Others completely changed their content, trying to appease the algorithm. But Marcus stood firm. Not out of stubbornness, out of Fudoshin. He was the mountain. The algorithm was the storm. The storm would pass. The mountain would remain. And then something remarkable happened. 3 months later, YouTube adjusted the algorithm again. Suddenly, Marcus's videos were being recommended more than ever. His views didn't just recover, they exploded. Video after video started hitting 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 views. But here's what was even more remarkable. Marcus didn't react to the success either. When the views were high, he didn't become attached. When they dropped again, he didn't panic. He had developed true Fudoshin. The external numbers no longer controlled his internal state. He posted consistently. He refined his craft intentionally. He adapted when it served his vision, but he never reacted emotionally to circumstances beyond his control. Meanwhile, something else happened. A much larger channel, with 10 times his subscribers, called him out in a video. They criticized his approach. They mocked his content. Their audience flooded his comments with negativity. The old Marcus would have been devastated, would have felt attacked, would have either quit or fought back emotionally. Instead, Marcus read the criticism, paused, and observed his emotional reaction. He noticed the anger, the hurt, the desire to defend himself. He let the emotions arise and pass without acting on them. Then he asked himself, is there valid feedback here I can use to improve? He found 2 legitimate points and implemented them. The rest he let go. He didn't respond to the attack. He didn't engage with the negativity. He simply continued his work. His community noticed his composure, and it strengthened their respect for him. Because Fudoshin isn't just an internal practice, it's visible. People can sense when someone has an immovable mind. There's a gravity to them, a groundedness, a strength that doesn't need to prove itself. Marcus had become that person. And then came the final test. Marcus's corporate job, which he had been planning to leave, suddenly offered him a major promotion. Significant raise, better title, more security. It was everything he thought he wanted before he started his YouTube journey. The old Marcus would have been confused, torn between 2 paths, paralyzed by the decision. But Marcus had developed his center. He knew his purpose, so the decision was clear. He thanked them for the offer and declined. Then he went full-time with his channel. Not because he was guaranteed success, but because he was committed to his path. Fudoshin doesn't promise you won't fail. It promises you won't break when you do.
2 years after meeting Kenji, Marcus was a different person. His channel had grown to 200,000 subscribers, but that wasn't the real transformation. The real transformation was internal. He had developed Fudoshin, the immovable mind, and it changed every aspect of his life. When videos flopped, he analyzed them objectively without emotional collapse. When videos succeeded, he celebrated briefly without becoming attached. When the algorithm shifted, he adapted intentionally without panicking. When competitors emerged, he acknowledged them without feeling threatened. When critics attacked, he filtered feedback without internalizing hatred. When opportunities arose, he evaluated them against his purpose without confusion. When setbacks occurred, he processed them and moved forward without quitting. He had become the mountain. Not unfeeling, not cold, not detached from caring, but unshakable in his foundation. Marcus started teaching others what he learned, and he always began with the same truth that Kenji taught him. The external world will never stop testing you. Success will test you with attachment. Failure will test you with despair. Criticism will test you with self-doubt. Change will test you with fear. The question isn't whether these tests will come. The question is, do you have an immovable mind to face them? Most people build their sense of self on external circumstances. When circumstances are good, they feel good. When circumstances are bad, they feel bad. They're completely controlled by forces outside themselves. But Fudoshin teaches you to build your foundation on something internal, on your commitment to your path, on your connection to your purpose, on your acceptance of what is, on your awareness in each moment. When you do this, external circumstances lose their power over you, not because you don't care, but because your worth isn't dependent on them. You care deeply about your work, but you're not destroyed when it doesn't go as planned. You celebrate success, but you're not defined by it. You feel failure, but you're not broken by it. This is freedom, true freedom. One day, a young creator approached Marcus at a workshop, exactly as Marcus had approached Kenji 2 years earlier. She said, "How do you stay so calm? How do you not panic when things go wrong?" Marcus smiled, remembering Kenji's response. "You're suffering from the 4 sicknesses, aren't you?" And he began teaching her about Fudoshin. Because the immovable mind isn't just a personal practice, it's a lineage. It's passed from those who have cultivated it to those who are ready to receive it. The samurai understood this. Kenji's grandfather understood this. Kenji understood this. Marcus now understood this. And perhaps, as you watch this video, you are beginning to understand this too. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you. Everything you're chasing, success, freedom, peace, purpose, requires you to develop an immovable mind first. You can't build anything lasting on a foundation that crumbles with every external change. You can't create meaningful work if you're controlled by metrics and opinions. You can't live a purposeful life if you're reacting emotionally to every circumstance. Fudoshin isn't optional if you want to achieve something significant. It's essential. The question is, are you ready to cultivate it? Are you ready to face your 4 sicknesses and cure them? Are you ready to stop reacting and start standing? Are you ready to become the mountain? Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary samurai, wrote in the Book of 5 Rings, "You can only fight the way you practice. If you practice reacting emotionally to every external event, you will react emotionally when it matters most. But if you practice standing firm despite circumstances, you will stand firm when the greatest storms come." This is Fudoshin. This is the immovable mind. And it's available to you right now. Not someday when you're stronger. Not someday when circumstances are better. Right now, in this moment, with whatever situation is currently shaking you. That situation isn't your enemy. It's your training ground. The algorithm change isn't destroying you. It's teaching you to stand. The competition isn't defeating you. It's showing you where your foundation is weak. The criticism isn't breaking you. It's revealing where you're still seeking external validation. Every external challenge is an invitation to develop internal strength. This is the way of Fudoshin. So here's my final invitation to you. Stop reacting. Start standing. Develop your immovable mind. Not by running from challenges, but by standing firm in the face of them. Not by controlling circumstances, but by mastering your response to circumstances. Not by achieving perfect external conditions, but by building an unshakable internal foundation. Subscribe to this channel because we're going to explore more ancient principles that transform modern challenges. Like this video if the message of Fudoshin resonated with you, and comment below, what is that one situation that keeps shaking you? Name it, acknowledge it, because that's your training ground for developing Fudoshin. Thank you for watching. Remember, be present, stand firm, walk your path with an immovable mind. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be the mountain.